New York sports, where the city never sleeps and the passion roars. From the Bronx to Brooklyn, we're talking it all. Yankees, Mets, Knicks, Jets, Giants, let's ball. Sean Ho runs the name, he's calling the plays, breaking it down in the loudest of ways. Hot takes, headlines, the games that you missed, your all access pass to the ultimate list. New York pride runs deep, we wear it like a crown. So strap in, folks, Sean's taking you around. This is Sean Around's playbook, you're in the zone. Let's hit the mic, the stage is yours.
What's up, New York? We are back. I know we've been gone for a little while, but welcome back to Sean's Playbook. And let's get into this. An exciting week for the New York Giants. A pretty depressing span since the last podcast for the New York Yankees. So first we're going to start with the good. We're going to cover the Giants, then we're going to get into the Yankees, and we will rock this one away. But with that being said, we're going to first get into our sponsorship. So we do have one this week, new little thing that they just came out with. So let's get this started here, starting now.
Have you lost that Sunday feeling? Has football left you numb? Do you stare at the TV wondering where the spark's gone? Well, now there's hope. Introducing Hope, the once-a-week chewable pill designed exclusively for Giants fans. Just take one hope while watching Jackson Dart roll out or Cam Scatterbo break a tackle, and feel your faith in football come back to life. With Burns on the rush and Carter on the line, your Sundays feel electric, your team's alive. For when the pain fades and the playoffs don't feel so far away. Hope! Brought to you by the Crazy White Bros, Scatterbo and Dart, because belief is back in New York. Cause not approved by the FDA or the NFL. Side effects may include screaming at your television, spontaneous belief in miracles, and excessive confidence in the Giants' offensive line. Do not take hope if you are allergic to excitement, winning football, or Kayvon Thibodeau. Consult your doctor if you experience playoff fever lasting more than 4 weeks. Hope is not guaranteed to defeat the Eagles, but results may vary. Take it every Sunday.
That's right, baby. Hope. It's back in the building for the first time. If you don't get it, you get it now. There's no ad. That was it. What do you think? 3 listeners? Someone's going to give me a sponsorship. But hey, if you're a business out there and you're a part of those 3 listeners and you want to give me a sponsorship, I'll take it. I definitely will put it on here. We'll sell your stuff. We'll do great business, the best business. So anyway, moving on back to the Giants. 34-17 final on a Thursday night against the Eagles. I'm almost 1 week removed, so today's a Tuesday. So we're not quite at that week part yet, but, you know, some of those initial feelings have subsided a little bit, and I'm going to just get into what I've kind of thought about the game over the last couple of days and from the time it happened. So we'll start with that first drive by the Eagles after the kickoff penalty. So you're like, oh, man, Eagles at home on a Thursday night, prime time, and we start off the game with a penalty on the kickoff. So the Eagles get the ball at their 40 because of the landing zone penalty, because Gillen was short on that. So when can we get a real kicker in this? Because later in the game, he misses an extra point too, which made it 13 instead of 14. You know, and those extra points matter. Those are the difference between a 2-possession game and a 3-possession game. Or at the very least, forcing an extra a 2-point conversion and not just giving them the extra point to tie it. And, those 1 points are important. So let's get next year. It's all right for this year, whatever. Honestly, we want to win out, but at the end of the day, losing games this year is probably not that important because as much hope as Dart and Scadaboo has given us, this schedule is really difficult. There's a long way for this Giants football team to go. We don't really have much competence at the wide receiver level right now. I shouldn't say competence, but no one, with Neighbors going down, no one's really separating that wide receiver core from the rest of the pack. So definitely next year, we cannot trust Gano anymore. We need to move on to someone else, and that's just the end of the line. Whether you have to draft a kicker or something with like the 6th round, 7th round pick, I don't care. Just don't have Gano on this football team come next year. All right. So back to the game. So then after that penalty, an 18-yard run followed by a 13-yard run by Saquon Barkley. He goes off the left tackle for 18 and then up the middle, eventually tackled by Holland after a 13-yard gain on that second one. So now the Eagles have the ball 1st and 10 at the Giants' 29-yard line. And you're just like, oh, no, the penalty, 31 rushing yards on 2 plays. The defense is about to get sliced up. It's going to be 7-0. Then Jackson Dart's going to come out, and he's going to have to punt it. And then something miraculous happens. The defense makes a very good play on 1st and 10, holds them, tackles from Dexter Lawrence and Newbin combine on that one. So now it's ball 2nd and 8. 13 minutes and 31 seconds left for anyone wondering. They took Saquon out of the game at this point. I guess he was just gassed from running 31 yards, but that doesn't seem very Saquon-like to me. Maybe something's going on with his body over there. Eagles not quite right, obviously. You can tell the final score 34-17, but we'll cover it more. And then the next play, they do a Jalen Hurts, no huddle shotgun scramble. He goes off the right end to the New York Giants 29, where Andrew Phillips makes a great tackle on him, brings him down. And that brings up 3rd and 10, and the Giants do a good job to blanket the field. Brian Burns and Dane Belton come in to make the tackle after a 5-yard gain from Hurts to Goddard, and that brings out the field goal. And you're like, wow, the Giants defense made a good play. Honestly, when this field gets short, I think this Giants team is really hard to play against. The problem is when the field's a little bit bigger, maybe it's something with the scheming. I don't know. Just something when the field's a little bit bigger. I guess it's just the modern day NFL. You can move the ball on this defense, but when the field gets when it gets smaller, it gets really tough for these offenses. You've seen it every week so far. Initially, I was kind of like, this Giants defense is bad. They're not really that good, but after a third of the season, you can say in the red zone, this Giants defense is very good. And you have to give credit to them. I know giving up field goals is not good when your offense looks pathetic. Your defense gets held to a little bit of a higher standard. They can't really bend as much to play that complimentary winning football. But when your offense moves the ball and they do their job, you can give up field goals, but you have to score touchdowns and convert extra points if you're going to play that kind of defense. So after the field goal, it's good. Jake Elliott, 42 yards. The Giants get the ball back now with about 12 minutes left in the first quarter. Scadaboo goes 3 yards to start, then incompletion from Dart. And then you have a 5-yard penalty on 2nd and 7 to bring up 3rd and 12. And this is where you're like, damn, that defense just held them to a field goal after 2 big plays. They gained a little bit of the momentum back by preventing that drive from becoming a touchdown, and then the offense goes out and they're going to lay an egg. But then on 3rd and 12, Jackson Dart passes deep right to little Jordan Humphrey, and they're already at the Eagles 22 after that. Amazing. It's really amazing what Jackson Dart can do. This is not a type of play that you would have seen from Russell Wilson, Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, maybe 3 years ago, but even still, that's a tough play. And Jackson Dart makes it, and he makes it look pretty smooth. So very good for Jackson Dart, connecting to his preseason favorite. Good on the coaching staff and this front office for listening to Dart when I'm assuming he probably told them that, yeah, I have a relationship, or whether Dart told them or they just identified it on their own. Good job on them getting little Jordan Humphrey up for this game and ready to play. Yeah, I mean, what a play, 34 yards. So now you're on the borderline of the red zone. Scatterboo goes to the Eagles 20 for 2 yards, which they went in the no huddle after that. They got into, that pace that helps Jackson Dart be successful. And then Dart throws an incomplete, which brings up 3rd and 8. So now you're like, damn. As soon as we touch the red zone, we have to kick a field goal. The story of this Giants. And then Dart just comes through again on 3rd down. Look at that. It's 2 3rd and longs. And this is what I was talking about with the Giants defense in the beginning of the play. The Philly defense needs to get off the field on 3rd and long. If you want to win football games in the NFL, your defense has to get off the field on 3rd and long. End of story. You need a good pass rush. You can't let these passers sit back there and have all the time in the world to throw. And honestly, to go on top of that, not only do you need that, you need a good spy to contain these mobile quarterbacks. The NFL offenses are so dynamic with the quarterback being able to move as well as some of these quarterbacks do. So with that being said, the Eagles don't get off the field on 3rd and 8. They don't have a spy who's able to contain Jackson Dart on this play, and Jackson Dart makes a nice little step, and then he's gone. And he's fast, and he's big, and he can put some touch on the ball. Let's work on the arm strength a little bit, but hey, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the rookie, especially on a Thursday night primetime game. First drive, down 3 to against the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jackson Dart scrambles up the middle for 20 yards and scores a touchdown on 3rd and 8 after he already converted a long pass on another 3rd and 12. Amazing. Great job by the Giants so far. So now they have momentum. The momentum has fully swung to the Giants side at this point. They held the Eagles to a field goal after the penalty and, the penalty and 2 rushes for 30 yards. The Giants then come out and they make good plays on defense to start swinging that momentum factor back towards their team. And then the offense comes out, and on 3rd down, they find a way to hold on to the momentum and even extend that momentum further and score a touchdown. If you don't believe in momentum, you don't know ball, because momentum's a huge thing. If your team, think about it, it's in any sport ever. In hockey, you come out, your team's firing shots on goal. More guys are looking to shoot. You're feeling good. You're confident. You're playing with a swagger. You're hitting people. You're making more plays. You're skating through the puck. And then even in baseball, when a team hits, the whole team hits. When only one guy hits and there's not a lot of momentum on your side, that's how no hitters are thrown. That's how you see teams get hit two hits, because momentum is not on their side. You build on each other as a team in every sport. It's just the way it is. And even basketball, guys start getting hot. They start hitting shots, gain momentum. More guys start hitting shots. And then before you know it, there's a 20-4 run in basketball. It happens all the time. Momentum's a huge factor when it comes to these professional games. The coaches on the other side, they're professionals. The players on the other side, they're professionals. It really just comes down to who schemes a tiny bit better and who executes a tiny bit better. Good teams consistently execute on every play a tiny bit better. And that's the difference between an okay professional and the GOAT professional and the greatest professional. It's that consistency of being a little bit better each and every play, and having momentum gives you a boost in the energy department to do that. And so that's what was sorely missing from this Giants team, dating back to really since that 22 season, and then before that, obviously, since the boat season. You just need to be a little bit better on each play consistently to win games, and momentum gives you let's say a 15% boost to execute better than the other team on every play. And the Giants finally had guys that went out and just snatched the momentum when it was there to grab and hold on to it when they had to. So then that brings out the Eagles next drive. They take over. They're at their own 29. Jalen Hurts passes short, 5-yard gain, 1st and 5. And then Saquon on the next play, that 2nd and 5, the defense gave up 5 yards, which is putting the offense a little bit ahead of the sticks, but it's not backbreaking. It's not anything that's going to completely destroy that momentum. -3-yard run by Saquon on the next play. That gives the momentum back to the defense. Now the Eagles are at 3rd and 8. They're behind the sticks. This is 3rd and long. Remember, when the Giants had 3rd and 8, Jackson Dart made a play, got the first down, got a touchdown. Now, when the Eagles have 3rd and 8, Jalen Hurts gets sacked by the Spider-Man himself, Brian Burns. Let me tell you something. If you live in New Jersey, he's your neighborhood Spider-Man. But if you're on the football field at the same time as him, you better watch out because there ain't nothing friendly about this dog. He gets after it. Let's go, Brian Burns, man. He's playing with his head cut off this season. All right, and then that brings up an 8-yard loss, and so they're at 4th and 16. What a momentum stamper for the Giants, right? Right? Just put your foot on this game and control it. And then guess what? The offense comes back out onto the field. Cam goes off the right tackle for 4 yards. Jackson Dart goes deep left to Wan'Dale Robinson for 26 yards. They're now down at Philly's 36. In 2 plays, they went 30 yards. And then Singletary comes in, tough 1 yard there. Brings up 2nd and 9. And then Dart hits Wan'Dale for that 35-yard touchdown pass. And once again, Dart with the touch on the ball to get it to Wan'Dale, to have the poise to keep his eyes down the field while scrambling, and just to do it in prime time in front of a crowd who's been so hungry and desperate for good football play after a week before where you had 5 turnovers on 5 straight drives. That's just something that you're born with, and very, very few people in this world are born with that kind of poise. Let me tell you, could you imagine, think about all the people that failed their road test on the first try because they're nervous. Now go try and do that road test where there's professional disruptors on the field who are trying to make you fail the road test at every stop, making the most hard traffic decisions of your life. And there's tens of thousands of people who, some are Philly fans, so as soon as you mess up, they're ready to hop on the boo trains. And 2, a desperate fan base who was really high on you 2 weeks ago, and now they're kind of like, oh no, because you turned the ball over 5 straight drives last time. You come out and throw a 35-yard touchdown pass where you're scrambling around, you're making plays. That is a type of poise that cannot be taught. What a player this Jackson Dart is. But then, in classic Giants fashion, they missed the extra point. And that is too easy of a momentum giver to the other side. Too easy. It is too easy when you lose momentum on an extra point. That's completely unforced. It wasn't blocked. Just bad management by the team to have Graham Gano on the week 1. And you go back and you look at the Jets loss from a few years ago. Graham Gano was hurt after that game too. They probably would have won that game if Graham Gano wasn't hurt. I was just talking about it the other day with a buddy, and looking back on it, Brian Daboll knew he couldn't win on a field goal, so he had to go for a touchdown. There's a questionable go for it call on. I forget. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, the kicker being hurt certainly did not help them win that 1900s classic. That was the anniversary year prior to the anniversary year, but they went back in time 99 years then to play that one. So anyway, back to this Giants game. Missing the extra point is absolutely unforgivable here. I couldn't even, like, that's just bad. That's just really, really bad to miss that extra point there and give the Eagles any kind of room to breathe. So then after that, we have the Eagles' third drive, and this goes 8 plays for 75 yards, and I knew they were scoring a touchdown here. So first play, incomplete deep left to A.J. Brown, 30-yard pass, Hurts to Brown for 30 yards. Obviously, 2nd and 10. Hate to give that up, but this defense has played pretty well to this point, so you're not killing them yet. And again, the defense is going out not as juiced as they would have been had it been 14-10. They're kind of like, oh, I can't believe we just missed that. And now the offense is like, they just missed that. If we score here, we're only a field goal out. And that makes a big difference, I think. Just any kind of small advantage you could have over the other team in a professional game, like a football game in the NFL, that is big. Any kind of small, tiny advantage. Think about baseball. If your cutter or slider runs an extra inch, just 1 inch of extra movement, you're going to be far more dominant than the rest of the pack. It's just that simple, that something as small as an inch or a missed extra point can make all the difference in a game. So then Barkley goes for 6 yards after the 30-yard pass, then a 23-yard pass to Goddard, 4-yard pass to Goddard after that, and then 8-yard pass and a 1-yard run, and then a 3-yard touchdown pass to Goddard to score. So Giants did a pretty good job of containing the run to this point. Eagles beat them through the air on that. What is that, like 56 yards, 61 yards or something like that. Or no, probably even closer to 70 yards right there on that. I don't know, maybe my math's wrong. Probably 60 to 70 yards on that touchdown drive throwing for the Eagles. So now, yeah, it's a field goal game, right? Field goal game. Eagles are come out, make the Giants go 3 and out. The Giants give it back to the Eagles. The Eagles start off with a sack, which was really just not really a sack. They scored it as a sack, but 0 yards, so basically just a tackle there for no gain. Saquon 3-yard run. Hurts again, next couple plays, he goes 16, 17, 0-yard run, 10-yard pass, 9-yard pass, 0-yard run, and then that brought up the whole touch push for like an eternity. The amount they're doing that is just crazy, and they cheat while they're doing it, and they go early every time. It's ridiculous. Just use the replay assist to see if the guards went early. You just have to make the call once. You review it, look at it quick, guard went early, and then you set it back 5 yards, and then they don't do it again. It's really just that simple, that easy. But you know, the NFL just chooses when to and when not to use this replay assist. It's very strange. Really only started happening after the NFL has an exclusive deal with FanDuel, right? Like, I wonder if that's connected. And then even last night in the game, there was an incomplete pass on the sideline pretty early in the game. The wide receiver made a pretty good grab on it, but it was only 1 foot in. The other was clearly out of bounds. The Falcons had to challenge it, and I was kind of just like, why wouldn't they just use the replay assist there? It was so clear and obvious that on the replay that it was out of bounds, but they didn't choose to do it, and they had to challenge it. Like, I just feel like that replay assist should be used a little bit better. It's ridiculous. So anyway, now it is 17-13, and you're like, oh, well, I guess we're going into the half losing this after getting out to a nice start. It was the same exact script as the week prior. And you're just thinking to yourself, no, this is another one getting away. So the Giants come out, Cam Scatterbo, 3-yard run. They have about 7 minutes when they start the drive. Then Tracy comes into the game after that, goes for 1 yard, and that brings up a 3rd and 6. And again, you're kind of just like, oh man, 3rd and 6. How many drives have I seen the Giants not to be able to convert a 3rd and 6? But then the man himself, Jackson Dart, comes through again on 3rd down with a 9-yard pass completion to the short left to little Jordan Humphrey. Then on 1st and 10, Dart scrambles up the middle for 9 yards. Scatterbo goes 6 yards. And you got to love the way Scatterbo runs the football, man. He just is an energy spark. He's what I would call a momentum grabber. He's a playmaker, and he's a monster. He's the dude that would come and play pickup football that no one would be able to tackle. He's just too explosive, too strong, too fearless. He's a beast, man. And there's really no other way to put that. He plays with an intensity that I've seen very few play with. He plays with a swagger, a toughness. Him and Jackson Dart both are going to be staple guys. And I like the fact that they have Winston in there. He's dealt with the highest of highs, being drafted number 1 overall to falling to be backup. So he's gone from the high to the low. And that dude has kept a smile on his face through every step of the way. He's a guy that radiates positivity, and I actually think that's one of the hidden things that this GM office has done. And a couple weeks ago, I was ripping them. I was saying this is so stupid, but it's because it seemed like Jackson Dart, from the perception was Jackson Dart wasn't ready to go, or at least as ready as Russell Wilson was, or as good as Russell. And Russell Wilson didn't look good. So we kind of had this notion in our head, like, yeah, we saw Jackson Dart kind of ball out in the preseason a little bit, but, it was the preseason against a vanilla defense. And if he's not as good as Russ, then we're screwed, right? Like, if he's going to perform at a level worse than Russ, then this is bad, and we're going to ruin this kid, and it's horrible. But no, he's proven to us that whatever him and Daboll are doing, whatever Daboll saw in the tapes to say he really wanted him and to get Joe Shane to agree to it, I think that's, he's coming up big for the Giants, and we can't overlook that. So anyway, back to the game. The Giants now are driving down the field. Wandale gets a 1-yard pass on 1st and 10 at the Eagles 39. A 5-yard pass to bring up 3rd and 4. And then a short right pass to Jalen Hyatt. And after this, I kind of thought, okay, maybe Jalen might have a chance to get going now. There's an opportunity with Neighbors down, Slayton out. He has an opportunity to get going and really prove to everyone he is what he was in college. And then a 6-yard pass after that, again, to Jalen Hyatt. That was 2 in a row. And at that point, I was really starting to think, like, maybe this guy's got it. Maybe he's tapping into who he used to be, and maybe he's going to start performing. I'm not talking about anything crazy, but I'm just saying maybe be a serviceable wide receiver in the NFL. Maybe this can spark that. And then Dart scrambles after that to the left for a 7-yard gain, pushed out of bounds with about 1:50 left. Scatterbo goes off the left guard to the Philly 9 for 6 yards. That brings up a 2nd and 4. Scatterbo goes up the middle again for 3 yards. Then a 2-yard run from from Dart on 3rd and 1, and then an incompletion on 3rd and 1, which brings up a 4th down with about a minute 20 left. And oh, sorry. No. That was the 4-yard run was on 2nd and goal. Sorry. So they actually converted that 3rd and 1 on a 2-yard run by Dart to get the first down. Then on 1st and goal, it was an incompletion. And then on 2nd and goal, Scatterboo ran it 4 yards. Looked like the fastest 4 yards I've ever seen anyone run. He was getting into that end zone. Nobody was denying him on that. And honestly, like as soon as he touched the ball, it felt like he was at top speed. 12 feet to get to that fast. Like he was in there. So that play started at a minute 19, and it was over before a minute 19 was done. That's how fast he ran it. Took him less than a second. So now we're at the end of the half. That brings out the Eagles' final drive, in which the Giants hold them on 6 plays to bring up the end of the half. And then we start the 3rd quarter. The Giants go 3 and out, punt it. You're like, 2017, that's a punt. But then the defense comes out, and they don't let the Eagles hurt them there. They hold the momentum where it was. They get the ball back on after a 3 and out by the Eagles. The Giants have the ball with about 12 minutes and 8 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, and Dart goes 6 yards to little Jordan Humphrey. Then Tracy comes in 3 yards. Scatterboo back in the game 3 yards. Then they take a 5-yard penalty to bring up so then on 1st and 10, Jackson Dart throws it deep left to Jordan Humphrey. There was an illegal contact penalty, which was enforced at the Philadelphia 29. The Giants have the ball now, 1st and 10, and they get a 7-yard run, which brings them to the Philly 17. And that was Dart going off the left end. Again, good play there. Giants offense is way more dynamic. And then Tracy gets stuffed at the line. Schmitz got his nose cut on that play. And then the 4-yard run by Dart gives them a 1st and 10 where they go incomplete. And then Scatterboo goes for a 12-yard run, and then he gets in at the 1. So again, Scatterboo and the defense making plays to start this, even when the passing game was struggling a little bit. They get a penalty, which helps a little bit, but even still, very good drive there. It took 7 minutes, took them down to 7 minutes and 56 seconds remaining. So about a 7-minute drive. A 5-minute drive. 5-minute drive there. Take a little bit of time off the clock. Good drive. So then the Eagles come out and they go with a 14-yard pass to start this drive with about 7 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Then they go incomplete, 3-yard run by Hurts, and then Hurts was sacked by the man himself again, Brian Burns. He's an animal. The not-so-friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is what I would call him if I was a quarterback showing up to MetLife. The Eagles are forced to punt. Then the Giants get a couple first downs, and Dart makes a nice pass on 2nd and 4 to Wandell. I think this was the play he bounced off the turf like he was a skipping rock. And then they go to a couple more plays, 22-yard pass to Theo Johnson on a 3rd and 8. Brings up 1st and 10 where Dart's sacked for only a loss of 1 yard, which in the few times we've seen him get sacked, it's been for very few yards, and this was the play that Dart got hurt on, unfortunately. And then we had the fiasco in the blue tent. Yeah, that was crazy. Dayball, I know he was pretty excited about that, pretty hot and heavy, because the stark contrast of the team with Dart compared to Wilson, as you saw in the next play, Not good. That's still under investigation. The Giants are. I just looked it up quick. It said all the articles say the Giants are bracing for a fine on him going in. Scadaboo's got to stay out. I know they're worried about their guy. I know they want to win, but you got to let the professionals do their thing. If you really needed the extra time, you could use a timeout there. See if you can get Dart back in the game on 3rd and 9. But Wilson goes incomplete. It was like thrown right into the ground on 3rd and 9. Man, I actually felt bad for Russ after seeing that. The fans erupted in boos. Everyone was so mad. That entire stadium was booing him. The ball fell like 10 yards short of where it was supposed to go. That had to get deflected at the line. That didn't show a replay on the broadcast. But oof, that was madness in the tent and depression on the field, let me tell you. So then the Eagles go 3rd and out after that. Again, the defense came to play. They did not allow them to take over. So we're still at 27-17. Dart comes back into the game. The Giants unfortunately go 3 and out, only get 2 yards on that drive. Takes 1:07 off the clock. So now we're down to about 13 minutes in the fourth quarter. And then the Eagles start driving. You have Jalen Hurts passes 16 yards to Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts 25-yard penalty to Adebo on that pass interference, and then 10 yards to Goddard, and then he goes incomplete, and then that is when Cordell Flott makes probably the play of the game, honestly, because if the Eagles score there, now it's 24-20. You're losing, it's 24-27, and the Eagles are coming. They're coming back, right? But no, Flott makes a play to sustain the momentum and get it fully back on the Giants' side. He intercepts Hurts, and then it goes all the way back to the Eagles' 23, where he's pushed out of bounds by Saquon. Then in 3 plays, the Giants score a touchdown. They go a 3-yard run, 5-yard false start on Illuminor. Jackson Dart goes off the right end to get 4 of those 5 yards back. And then he made a really nice throw on this. The incompletion to Hyatt in the end zone, but there is the PI. If Hyatt catches that ball, his world's different, right? Because now we're talking about Jackson Dart emerging, Cam Scadaboo emerging, and both of those guys after this win are fully on the scene. And a spark. Maybe you're catching lightning in a bottle from Jalen Hyatt this year with the injury to Neighbors. But unfortunately, his one hand gets held. He's only able to get one hand on it, but the flag comes out. They get the ball at the 1, and then Scadaboo goes up the middle for 1 yard and scores a touchdown to make it 34-17. Then the Eagles come out. They go. They kick off. The Eagles get the ball on the muffed, that's right. So this was the muffed kickoff return. Goes out of bounds at the Philly 5. Jalen Hurts, short left, pass to A.J. Brown for 7 yards. Then he goes incomplete, brings up 3rd and 3. He throws that 1 yard pass to Saquon, who just gets pushed out by Cordell Flott for a 1 yard loss. Then Hurts goes over the middle for 9 yards, he goes short left to Devontae Smith for 9 yards to the Philly 20, which brings up 1st and 10. They go no huddle. Jalen Hurts passes short left to Dillon for 7 yards, tackled by Adebo. Then a 36-yard pass still in the no huddle with about 7 minutes and 30 seconds left. Hurts goes deep over the middle to Dallas Goedert to the Giants 37. So now the Eagles are in scoring position again, down 2 touchdowns though, and they got a lot to do here. And then Jalen Hurts passes short short over the middle to Dillon for 11 yards. And then that's when the ball was punched out by Belton and recovered by Andrew Phillips at the Giants 25. That is a play, again, where the momentum's on his side. I think if you're losing in that game, Belton will never make that play. If the Eagles have scored because Flott didn't get that interception and they score on that drive, I don't think that's something that Belton makes. I only think, honestly, even if the Giants kicked a field goal there, maybe Belton doesn't make that play. But because they had the momentum and he was determined to win that game and he was going to do whatever it took not to lose that feeling of being in control, he punches that ball, they get the recovery, and then the Giants run the game out with 6 minutes and 50 seconds left to win and beat the Eagles. I saw something crazy. Like, it was the first time they beat the Eagles in prime time in like 20 years. They did it at home in MetLife. This early in the season too. It's still October. Still October 10th or something like that. What a thing the Giants have done here. They're 2-1 with Jackson Dart as the starter. And they're looking like a real franchise. And like that joke, the hope pill, the hope chewable at the beginning, that's real. The Giants now are starting to give you hope. This defense is looking better. They're starting to gel. They're starting to click. Brian Burns is playing out of his mind. If we could get Dex, Kayvon, and Abdul to match that, even if those three guys combine to match what Brian Burns is doing alone, this Giants defense is something to be feared. That secondary continues to gel and come together and look better every week. So let's go Giants, man. Really, really positive outlook for them right now. Obviously, the schedule is tough. You wish there's a little bit of a softer spot, but let's see how they do. This is a test. You're going to be tested every week in the NFL. So I think they have the right mentality to approach it. Let's see if they can continue to execute. Good job by the Giants winning that football game. Feels good. Feels really good. And in this period where I was away from the podcast, obviously we have some Yankees news, but I wanted to update you guys on a little thing that was happening on my social media, on the Twitter account. We actually were talking with the great and the legendary Carl Banks on social media. Sorry about that. Had a slight mishap again. As some of the returning listeners know, I'm my own producer. Sometimes I press the wrong button. But so I was going back and forth with the great and legendary Carl Banks. We were talking a little Giants football, talking about the defense and what complimentary football actually is. So I actually asked him to be on the show. And so we got a new segment called Will Carl Banks Appear on the Pod? So here it is.
Every morning I open my Twitter, check my DMs, no message from Carl. It's not really about the Super Bowl. It's about this segment, Will Carl Banks appear on the show? Is Carl Banks gonna be on the show? Will Carl Banks appear on the show? Is Carl Banks gonna be on the show?
The answer is no. He never responded, but we'll keep trying to get him on. It was exciting. It was fun. A couple people said they'd listen to the pod. I'm going to put this one out. Hopefully they'll listen to it now that's nice and fresh, up to date. I didn't really get into too much of the same stuff with the Giants. I think that's one we can maybe just hopefully file away. 5 straight turnovers is never going to be good. Slayton is really the only thing that I think the Giants should continue to address after this. Cam, it's one fumble in 3 weeks. He's young. He said there was an issue with his gloves on the bench. He said he needed new ones. Maybe that was the case. But, I think he's the type of player who lays awake, and that's what goes through his head at night, that play. I think Jackson Dart, same thing. Those plays where he turned it over, or mostly the one where he just dropped it. I think that's really motivated them to prepare for that Eagles game. But Darius Slayton, you're a veteran. You're making $36 million over 3 years. That is a deal that top talent at certain positions get. I won't say a guy's name. I won't mention him. But someone who runs the ball almost as well as Cam Scadaboo got that, right? Right? That was Saquon money. And you look like your feet are in the mud. You don't catch balls that a wide receiver 2 should catch. You're arguing with fans on Twitter saying, like, you don't have to post these stats about Malik, or you can just post the Malik stats and prop him up, but you don't need to make the rest of us look bad. Slayton, newsflash, it's not the fans making you look bad. It's you. You need to perform at a higher level. I understand your quarterbacks were Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, Russell Wilson, and now Jackson Dart. But go ask those guys in Indy how they're doing with that quarterback. What's their excuse? So why don't you focus on improving your ability? If you think that you were putting up wide receiver 1 stats with the Giants, well, going for like 750 receiving yards a year, get over yourself, man. Learn to catch. Get out of your breaks. Put better ball on the tape. And so now that I'm kind of annoyed talking about Slayton, I do want the Giants to go out and sign Turpin in free agency. Last year, he was the fastest guy to carry the ball in the NFL. So let's go out. Let's get Turpin in free agency. Maybe even draft another wide receiver, and let's put the burners on next year, right? Like, this is our window. If Jackson Dart is the real deal, like he showed on Thursday night, our window is open now. Maybe next year. It's starting to open, at least. It was a window that was cemented shut, okay? So don't get on me for saying the Giants' window is open. We took Jackson Dart is the chisel that broke the cement, okay? So with that being said, and we're moving into a happier time where maybe we can see past the cement that was sealing us inside of this prison, and we get a little bit of daylight. Let's move to the other franchise that I root for in this town, the New York Yankees. And with that being said, obviously you know what happened against the Blue Jays, and this is once again, this is a systemic issue, so we're going to go. Oh, and before I say this, since on the last time I had a podcast out, it was before we got that really sad John Mara news. John Mara, I wish you a speedy recovery. I hope you beat this thing. Cancer really sucks, and best on you. What I said was entirely driven by football passion and nothing to do with the actual man himself. From everything the players have said to what the community gets from this man, I think he is a great person who should go down in history as a really, really great man to be remembered. But recently, obviously, his football hasn't been good. That's besides the point. John Mara even might have figured it out with this regime now. So thank you for everything you've done for this franchise. Thank you for giving us a team that I so passionately care about. And thank you for all you've done for the players as well as the community. Please beat this thing. We're all rooted for you, Mr. Mara. All right. And now with that being said, let's get into this next segment, which if you had listened to the first one, you know what's coming now because I had ripped Mr. Mara, speedy recovery. But I had ripped him on the last Sean Ya Ass segment, and so here we go. We're getting back into this now.
Hey, Sean Ya Ass, calling out the plays that crash. If you're slipping, if you're slacking, Sean's coming for the action. Sean Ya Ass, New York sports better move fast. Mess it up and you won't pass. Sean Ya Ass, Sean Ya Ass, Sean Ya Ass.
had to get up and close my window for this one. These people, man, the New York Yankees, the entire organization, the owner, the GM, the manager, the roster, the people who play in the events and got Fat Joe in the building last year. Just what are we doing? Let's start with the series, and then we'll get into the rest of it. This ALDS is a disgrace to how baseball's played. Threw away the first 2 games with bad pitching, starters who can't stay in the game, and 3, what kind of hitting approach is just blindly chasing the first pitch? That's not how you get on base. That's not how you grind a starter who's slicing up your lineup. That's not how you get that starter out of the game. Okay, so you can't get hits off this guy. Guess what you do then? You start getting him out. This is a new era of baseball where they don't like to show guys through the lineup more than a few times. They don't like them going above a certain amount of pitches. And what do you think? You're the only ones who follow those analytics? No, other teams use them, but they know how to use them. They don't use them with blind faith like they're in a cult, a numbers cult with a bunch of geeks running the project. No. They listen to their baseball sense, and baseball sense would tell you if a starter's carving you up, then you got to get him out of the game. And how do you do that when they're worried about pitch counts and analytics? You take pitches, you grind at bats, you hit foul balls, and you make sure that this guy's pitch count gets up one way or the other. But instead, you give him favorable counts, you keep the pitch count low, and you allow him to slice you for inning after inning after inning, which seemed endless. And how about a guy like Vlad Guerrero? Okay, he beats you game 1. Okay, he beats you game 2. How about games 3 and 4? We don't throw the damn ball to him. I don't even care if there's someone on base. This guy hits a home run like 50% of the time. He had more home runs and RBIs than the entire Yankees team through the first 2 games. He was on fire. And in baseball, you can mitigate the other team's momentum by not giving their big bats the ball to hit. Throw it away from him, make him chase, don't give him a good pitch. So what if he walks? At least it's not over the fence or ripped into the gap for a double. And the plays he was making on defense, oh my own, when the Yankees would actually get a good hit, this guy stopped it. So just bad approach in the first 2 games. Look better in the third, but not great. I mean, it was a up and down game. You really thought the Yankees were getting swept there, and then they come back with the late game heroics. And then game 4, again, flat, just bad, no energy. It's a bunch of guys who even out over the season. It's not a bunch of guys who give you a chance at any given at bat. No. I was listening to Keith McPherson. I talk about it with my friends, but the Yankees' numbers are horrible, and it's what costs them every postseason. They rely on guys to, 1, perform above what is expected of them, 2, to learn new positions as the season goes on, 3, to learn how to hit in every slot of the lineup. Like batting leadoff isn't different from batting 6th. So the Yankees' problems are they don't have good bullpen. They don't hit the ball particularly well unless it's bad pitching and they're mashing home runs. So they don't put the ball in play well. They don't look to take what the pitcher's giving them. It seems like they don't change the approach with 2 strikes. God forbid a guy doesn't take a G-hack with 2 strikes and strike out. Excuse me, Mr. Cashman and Hal. Yeah, guys, guess what? When there's, Aaron, come in the room. Aaron, come here. You should be included in this too. Come on, Boone. Come on, Booney. Take a seat right next to Hal, and on your other side can be Cashman. You can sit down right in the middle of them. And listen when I tell you, with 2 strikes, You don't have to swing as hard as you can. You don't have to hit a home run. You can manufacture runs through base hits, singles, and stolen bases. But what do you guys do? No, we're going to take a 4'3" kid, Anthony Volpe, and tell him to swing as hard as Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton do. What are you doing? It doesn't make sense. This Yankees organization drives me up a wall because it's so simple. The rules of baseball going back hundreds of years. These Yankees guys, let's reinvent the wheel. Right? Let's get a bunch of guys who average out. We'll act like we're poor, but somehow we'll spend the most money on stupid contracts, and we'll secure the big names after they're in their prime, when they start falling down. And then for all the other parts where we don't really want to spend the extra, 15 to 20 million to make this lineup viable, what we'll do is we'll just patch it together with guys who don't play those positions, and guys who can only hit lefties or guys who can only hit righties. It doesn't matter. What do we need to spend the money on a complete ball player for in New York? Who cares? It's just a crapshoot when you get to the playoffs anyway, right? So let's make our goal, instead of win the World Series, we'll make our goal just to make the playoffs, because once you're in, it's a roll of the dice and anything can happen. No, it's not just a roll of a dice. It's a roll of a dice where there's a technique to getting it to land on 4, which is the amount of games you have to win the World Series. 4 games in the World Series, 4 games the ALCS, 3 in the ALDS, and 2 in the wild card. Since we don't care about winning the division anymore, we don't care about that. No, it's just about getting in. Just get that front foot in the door. And then once we're in, we'll come up with these ridiculous strategies like chasing the first pitch, because who knows, anything can happen. Maybe we could hit a home run on the first pitch, because our numbers tell us that out of 4,642 home runs hit, there's a 35% chance that 55% of them are hit on the first pitch. So we should be chasing first pitch, because all of those home runs come off the first pitch. Probably some stupid logic like that by some nerd with glasses who's like, hey, so I've been punching the numbers actually. They might not even use nerds anymore. They probably have ChatGPT. They're like, so what's a winning strategy we could get? Cashman typing in, and then he takes a screenshot of it and he sends it to Boone, and Boone looks at it and goes, okay, boys, here's the strategy for tomorrow. Swing away first pitch, swing away strike with 2 strikes. If anyone takes a pitch, I'm going to look at you a little sad, because I'm not allowed to yell at you. But no, me and Mr. Cashman and Mr. Steinbrenner, we're going to be greatly upset with you guys. It's another thing, too. This team, no one's held accountable, and they just keep bashing their head against the same wall, like with a guy like Volpe, who had a torn labrum, and I don't believe in him to be the future, but the franchise does. So if your future of the franchise has a torn labrum, he can sit for a little bit. You were able to go out and get 2 serviceable shortstops at the deadline. Why couldn't you have just done that like 4 weeks prior? There's no way that the player's price isn't cheaper when no one else is asking for him, as opposed to when everyone else is asking for him at the deadline. Like, what are we doing? Same thing with third base. Why did we have to wait until the deadline to replace Oswaldo? And who we replaced him with, too? Great fielder, 200 hitter. You can't have that. You can't have a guy who's an out 4 out of 5 at bats. Like, it's just not acceptable. 3 out of 4, fine, but 4 out of 5 is where it starts to get really bad. It starts to be that guy. I mean, he hit, anything can happen, because he did hit a home run in the playoffs or whatever, but it doesn't matter. He shouldn't be the third baseman, and you shouldn't have waited so long. You peddled out Oswaldo Peraza out there, and guess what? You lost the division by a tiebreaker. If you get McMahon maybe 3 weeks earlier, or who knows, maybe even 2 weeks earlier, you probably win one of those games you lost in those 2 weeks, and you win the division. And maybe things are different then. But no, this franchise just loves to do. It feels like the bare minimum while pretending to spend a lot of money. Like, yeah, you obviously had to spend the money on Judge. You're not going to let Judge walk out that door. And you know why? Because he makes the franchise a ton of money. It's not like the Yankees are struggling to fill seats. Sold out every home game, sold out. Okay, and if that's the case, then why is it so scared to spend over $300 million? Oh, we don't want to give the money to our competitors. Oh, we don't want to give the money to our competitors. Yeah, okay. Well, you're giving them money by letting them beat up on you throughout the season, the Red Sox. How many more fans go to Red Sox-Yankee games because they know the Red Sox are going to beat the Yankees? How many more millions are made there? Let's think about also the Blue Jays. Oh yeah, and how many Yankee fans go to Tampa Bay Rays games because the Yankees are in town? All of them. You're giving your competitors money no matter what. Don't let it be because they're beating up on you. The Rays example didn't really fit, but you know what I'm saying. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Go out and make more money then. You just have to make more money. And you do that by winning more championships, getting more people to be happy and getting more fans to buy shirts and getting more fans to buy Yankees socks at Christmas and Yankees moccasins. Because I would have done it had you won the World Series. It would have been just getting cold. Oh, hey, I need a pair of moccasins. But now I'm getting Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo's face on my moccasins. So every time I look down at my feet, I see those two dogs staring back up at me. God, the Yankees, man. Well, I guess, it's not always the nicest time of year in Cancun, but October and November is especially nice. And so with that being said, and me getting on the entire Yankee organization, we'll do what they need to do to improve. But we've been going for a little bit now. This is our longest podcast yet by about almost half an hour by the time I finish. So we'll get into what the Yankees need to do to rebuild on a future podcast. We'll look forward to the Giants maybe a little bit later in the week. And we'll listen to this last segment. It's a song. It's a cover of a song called New York, New York, and it's called Cancun, Cancun. And we're actually just going to let this play us out for today. So thank you all for listening. If you're still listening to this point, enjoy this AI Frank Sinatra parody called Cancun, Cancun.
Start spreading the news. They're leaving today. They want to be a part of it. Cancun, Cancun. These Bronx Bombers blues got swept away. They're melting in the heat of it. Cancun, Cancun. They struck out where the lights are bright by the Jay's hot bats on a chilly night. But now they're beach bound, what a sight. The Yankees lose, all right. Blue Jays came to town and swung away. They hit bombs off coal and clay. Ole, ole. Judge packed his bags, no pinstripes today. They're taking selfies on vacay. Cancun Bay. Oh, Bichetti smile, Vlad's mighty grin.